Hello and welcome, Melynda. Thank you so much for joining me on season three, episode three of Energy Talks. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. I always like to get the ball rolling just by letting us know who you are, where you're from, and the different modalities that you currently offer.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Melynda. I'm an acute care nurse. I'm a Akashic Records guide, a healer, and also in school to be a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So that's a lot.
Yeah,
And I'm currently in Los Angeles now.
nice.
Yeah.
Lots of, we kind of touched on it, but lots of chaos surrounding you at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's good to
Yeah.
have all of those energetic practices to help ground you at this time, I'm sure.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So, Melynda, with this varied background that you have, what is it that brought you to spinal energetics?
So it's interesting. I've done a lot of energy work most of my life in a sense. And I had a coach before, and she was a trans channeler. And so she used to always tell me, you have to do this modality called network spinal analysis, like through the chiropractics. And so whenever I would like look for it, it was always like in Malibu or further down in LA, and I don't want to drive. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. I always saw it online. I'm like, that's interesting. And then during COVID time, um, so in at least here in LA, I mean, I know it was crazy all over. We had like what they would call it was like a natural disaster emergency at our hospital where we were basically taking on more patients. The whole hospital was COVID. We weren't getting like breaks. We were working 12-hour shifts. We didn't know what was going on. No one really told us, like we didn't really know. It was just like this new thing, and it was like COVID, and it was like, are we going to die? It was all this uncertainty. And then we were taking care of people that weren't able to see their families, and they were passing like a lot more than even as a nurse, it was just a lot. And it was a lot is all I could say. And it was very traumatic. And so after, it was probably like a 3 to 4 month period where it was like in this time frame where it was like really a disaster, where we didn't have help and all this stuff. And so after that happened, it ended, I think it was like February or March or something, and I took a couple weeks off just to kind of process.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot. And then I started to have where my heart rate, it just like hit me, and it was going 160s, 170s, 180s.
Mm.
And I was in the hospital, like, I'm going to have a heart attack. I couldn't breathe. Like, I was freaking out. All of this stuff was happening. My nervous system was done. And so this kept happening several times a day. I was in the hospital like every week, and I just felt so crappy. And after like maybe a couple months, the doctors were like, I think it was just the trauma and stress that you experience. And so now your nervous system is like a lot, like it's just too much for you. And so I couldn't get time off of work because they said everybody is stressed during this time. So I had to still work, I had to deal with it. And then online on Instagram, I saw Tracy, I think it's Tracy B,
Mhm.
and doing spinal energetics. And I was like, what is this? Like, it looks like network spinal. And so I kind of was just looking, and then I was going through life. It was just all this crap, trying to deal with like figuring out what's going on with me. And I finally was like, I have to just try this. So I set up a appointment. Um, and I did my first spinal energetics session. Yeah.
I like that little drop the mic moment.
Yeah.
and then, and then it came.
Yeah.
Um, so then what was that first session like for you?
So, to be super honest, I don't even remember the first session. It was
Hmm.
online.
Okay.
So, it was online. I did the first session. I knew that I felt like calmer.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't know what to expect because, online you see people moving. I didn't know much about it. And I was like, I didn't really move. And I'm like, okay, she gave me some practices to do. And I think, I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure we scheduled like a session like weekly for the next couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Um, but after the couple of weeks, I started to notice my body was getting calmer
Oh,
and the heart rates weren't going up as often. It would move from a couple times a day to like a couple times a week, then to a couple
nice.
times a month. And then it got to the point where it was just not at all.
Mm.
And so when that happened, I was like, wow, I actually teach women how to work with their emotions, how to connect to their body, like before this. And it was just kind of a testament of like how we are always there's always going to be something else. There's always going to be another way to kind of help yourself and, or maybe even just receive support from somebody in general. And I was like, okay, this is amazing. I need to do this for myself. I need to learn how to do this. How do I do this?
Yeah. So with that first session, what were some of I know you said you didn't move a lot, what have you, but like you experienced that decrease in heart rate. What were some other things that you started to notice, even in your external, when it came to receiving spinal?
I think it just really helped me to get out of my head and come back into my body because when I was like so in all the chaos and trauma and the emotions, I really felt like when I was working during those times, I had to somewhat disconnect myself a little bit so that I could keep going. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize at the time that I continued that disconnection. And so I think that it helped me kind of come back to that and feel safe to be like, okay, you need to grieve what you experience and not disconnect from it, run away from it and hide from it. You need to allow yourself to move through it. And I feel like that Spinal Energetics helped it. And Tracy's so like sweet and bubbly and nice that her energy, I think, kind of helped me. I maybe not like spiral into, you know, something even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I could definitely see like with the profession that you're in, like being a nurse, like you might be put in that position of having to face, to deal, to grieve more often than your average person, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we want to say that we're giving ourselves the chance to grieve, but like you're just hit with that so many more times a day. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like you were really being pushed to walk the talk in a sense.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, yeah. So what were some of the things that kept you coming back to spinal energetics?
I think it's really interesting. So obviously I kept coming back to Tracy because I was like feeling my body getting calmer and calmer. And then I
Mm-hmm.
just knew like I have to learn this. And well, this is kind of what happened was that I ended up after a couple years, whatever, I actually joined the online Spinal Energetics Practitioner program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like super excited because they finally offered it. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna do that. I've been waiting for it. So I did, and I started it. And then my hormones started going crazy where I was sick and I'm okay, so everyone, I'm 45 and I started to have like hormone issues to where I was bleeding for like 9 months at a time. Like it was
Wow.
intense. And so I kind of like put the program on the back burner because then this happened. Then this other life situation happened. And I think it was last September, I went to an event in LA with Dr. Sarah Jane and Dr. Brett. And so I was like, I gotta go. It was my birthday present to myself. I hadn't really done a lot of like healing work. It was just trying to focus on like my hormones, trying to figure out this balance, what's going on. And so I met Dr. Sarah, and she was like, I told her, I'm in the online program. And so she asked me, have you ever done spinal in person? And I was like, no, like I've never done it in person. And so that day she worked on me, and Dr. Brett and her, they both worked on me. But I remember when she worked on me, it felt like a mother's embrace, like just that energy of like, oh, my mother loves me. I don't know how to explain it, but that was what I felt when she worked on me. And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I ended up, somehow I asked her, like, can I come to the training tomorrow? Or no, it was like the next day. It wasn't, no, not the next day, but the day after, because they were doing an in-person training. And usually I can't do stuff during the week because I have kids, and somehow it just worked out perfectly. And I started the in-person training 2 days later, and it was amazing. It was so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could describe spinal energetics with just one word, what would that be?
It would be liberation. Because I feel like
Yeah.
it's about like freeing yourself. So it's like, not only, of course, we're allowing our body to release and unwind these different patterns and emotions that we hold in our body, but it really is freeing ourselves from our body energy, our spirit, and just allowing ourselves to see like that we hold these limitations and these patterns, but actually nothing is truly holding us back. So we have this concept where we know, we've learned, we have this wisdom, but spinal energetics allows us to embody the concepts of, especially of liberation, I think.
Yeah. So something that I've really just enjoyed with doing these conversations and having these talks, it's like the words that people choose and the stories that they tell just really like come together full circle. And just like I said, you were given so many opportunities that you had to walk your talk. And so it's like finding that liberation for yourself, freeing yourself from that grief, that trauma, those experiences. Um, yeah, it's just so you know, I think you're walking your talk.
Thank you. Thank you. I
So
love that.
yeah, yeah. So Melynda, just if you could do me a favor, let people know where they can find you. If you have a handle, Instagram, Facebook, something you want to share, maybe a website, so people know where to find you, locate you. And then do you currently offer in person and online?
I'm doing online right now, and I love to do group. So kind of how I do it is I do group Akashic record journeys and then spinal energetics with it, which is so powerful. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rad. That's rad. And where can people find you to do that if they're interested?
So I'm on Instagram at love_Melynda. I do have a website, lovemelynda.com, but just to be honest, I haven't updated the spinal energetics piece yet. I've been busy, but yeah, I am always on Instagram. I love like sharing. I love people to come talk to me. And yeah, I'm just a normal person.
Yeah. Aren't we all? Aren't we
Yeah.
all? Well, Melynda, it has been a treat to check in with you and to hear your story. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I hope that anyone who listens is able to take a little tidbit from your experience and apply it to their own world.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me.
of course. We'll talk soon.